All right. Well, example one. So let's look through example one. So we have this organization, Elmer. They have 500,000, 50 cent, no par value preferred shares. So there's 50,000 shares. And 1 million no par value common shares with 80,000 shares outstanding. No dividends were paid or declared during year 2 and 3, and the company wants to distribute 368,000 in dividends in year 4. So we're asked to look at 3 different scenarios, and let's go through one at a time. So the first item is here, we want to calculate the amount of dividends, preferred and common, assuming the preferred shares are non-cumulative and non-participating. So what we need to do, let's set up a little schedule here. So we have our preferred and common allocation. This is item A. Okay. And this is all year 4. It's non-cumulative, which means there's nothing to do with year 2 and 3. They're passed, they're never declared. We don't have to worry about it. So the first item is, let's go 50,000 shares at 50 cents each. So that's the number of shares and each. Okay, so we'll fix that. So these are for our preferred shares. So our first portion will be to preferred shares, a $25,000 payment. Okay. The next will go to remainder to common because they're non-participating, which means they don't get anything over and above what's in their agreement. So we'll take the 368,000 less what we've paid out. So the common shareholders will get the balance of 343,000. Oops, let's fix this. Our total allocation would be $25,000 for the preferred shareholders and 343,000 for the common shareholders. So our total allocation at 368. Let's look at item B. So item B says we want to assume the preferred shares are cumulative but non-participating. All right, so in this case, if a cumulative and non-participating, which means whenever dividends are declared, you have to pay back any years that were missed. So let's go backwards. We'll have year 4. We'll have year 3. We'll have year 2. Okay, so we'll only have to go for the years that nothing was paid. And in this case, we still have 50,000 shares at 50 cents each owed for those 3 years. So we owe $25,000 per year for each of those years. And then because they're non-participating, the remainder would go to common. So in this case, our 368,000 minus, let's go like this. The balance would go to our common shareholders. So our allocation would show $75,000 to preferred shareholders and $293,000 to our common shareholders. That's it. Let's move on to item C. Item C says, what if they're cumulative and fully participating? So you always deal with the cumulative portion first. So let's copy that down. So we'll pay for year 4, 3, and 2, the years that were not paid for yet. And then we need to look at the treating the common the same as preferred. Okay, so then we need to make it fair for treat common, same as preferred. So in this case, the preferred received $25,000 on 500,000 shares. Okay, so they received $25,000 for 500,000 shares. So that is a 5% per share. Okay. So then if we have $1 million in common shares times 5% would equal $50,000 owed to the common shareholders. Okay. So that's to get them up to the same spot. But then we still have a balance. So we need to figure out how to allocate the balance of the shares. So right now we've allocated 125,000 and we have a total of 368. So in order to reallocate the balance, we have to prorate the balance of dividends because they're fully participating between preferred and common shareholders. Okay, so then what we look at is what's our preferred value of common shares and what's our common value of our common shares. And so we have $500,000 in preferred shares and $1 million in common shares. So the total value of our shares on our books are 1.5 million. And so if we take 500 out of the 1.5, we'll do 1/3 to the preferred shareholders and 2/3 to the common shareholders. The balance to allocate, okay. We have a total of 368,000. We allocated so far, connected to some of these items. So therefore, the balance to allocate, widen this column, would be $243,000. So now we can go back to our year 4 split remainder between both. So we can take our 243,000 times our 33%. We'll have our $81,000. And we'll just, let's go around that because that's just what I like to do. And then we can take the balance or take, the balance minus the 81. So we'll have 162,000 going to common. Okay. And that's how we have those three situations.